According to ancient legend, in the beginning, God created a white pearl and a bird. On the first day, God created an angel with the name of Azrael. On the following days, he created 6 more angels: Sidrael, Mikael, Dirdael, Shamkael, Israfil, and Malik Taus, the peacock angel. God made Malik Taus the greatest of them all. When God blew upon the pearl, it warmed up, then became red hot, and finally burst into several parts. The biggest part became the sun. The other parts turned into stars and vapor. The vapor formed clouds, it rained, and the sea emerged. God made a boat for the angels, who began traveling over the seas in all directions. To make land, he threw Lalish into the water, which made it solid. And so the 7 angels went ashore at Lalish. The story goes that a community of believers established itself in Lalish some 4,000 years ago. These people, the Yezidis, believed that they were the very first inhabitants on earth when the world was created. It is here, in Lalish, where a Sufi mystic, Sheikh Adi, is buried. He arrived here in the 12th century on a mission to reform the faith and to give the believers the necessary knowledge to transmit their oral traditions. Yezidism is more than a religion. It's a mystical pathway towards understanding God and approaching Him through the veneration of the natural elements, the sun, the moon, fire, water, and air. The most sacred among the elements is the sun. It represents the fire and the light of God that shines onto things and makes them distinguishable. The rituals that the Yezidis perform each day emphasize the close relationship between man and an unknowable God. Yezidis do not have a specific holy scripture that sets out their duties. Instead, they consult 2 sacred texts, the Black Book and the Book of Revelation. These describe their ancient customs as well as the 3 sacred principles of truth, knowledge, and worthiness that they must follow. They pray 3 times a day facing the sun, and then they kiss the ground. Each Yezidi follows an elder who acts as a spiritual guide and also designates a brother or sister who will accompany him or her in the afterlife. It is a system of belief far removed from other monotheistic religions where God reigns supreme. But today, This religion, from which an entire civilization originates, is facing oblivion. Some historians consider the Yezidis the first Kurdish people, who around 4,000 years ago inhabited what is today northwestern Iran. It means that culturally and politically their history is completely intertwined with that of the Kurds. The Yazidi community has played a major role in the Middle East throughout history, in the Sumerian, Babylonian, Assyrian and Jewish civilizations. But despite their rich culture and ancient traditions, they have, along with other smaller communities throughout history, been deprived of their right to live in peace on the lands of their ancestors. The history of the Yazidis is shrouded in mystery. There are still many questions surrounding the survival of their traditions across the centuries, the origins of their faith and the way of life of the very first believers. It was only in the 12th century that a Sufi mystic by the name of Sheikh Adi brought about a complete renewal of the Yazidi faith and gave the community the means to explain to the outside world who they were. According to academics, it was Sheikh Adi himself who established the temple of Lalish, where he is buried, and which became a sacred site.
This man, who had nothing as such to do with this Yazid, he was just a distant relative, came to Kurdistan because he wanted solitude. He had studied in Baghdad and he was a mystic. He wanted to communicate with God, and he thought Kurdistan was a marvelous place to do it because nobody would bother him. Now this didn't happen because he was exactly the type of person the Kurds could understand. They didn't understand mullahs and Muslims and things, but this mystic had such power and such charisma that they could understand. People who are mainly Sufi and not mainly Orthodox don't care very much about what people do and accept the way people see life. A Sufi would say, do whatever you like as long as you find God. That's what it's about.
Yazidis believe that in the making of the world, God also created 7 angels. One of these, Malik Taus, or the peacock angel, was destined to rule the world. This figure of the peacock was borrowed from other Middle Eastern religions. It provides a definite link between Yezidism and ancient Iranian religions such as Zoroastrianism and Mithraism that go back more than 3,000 years.
The peacock has this tail with all these eyes in it. I think that's the clue. Mithra, the lord of this world in the ancient religion, is said to be 1,000-eyed. He has his eyes everywhere. And for some reason, the peacock was associated, I think, with this Mithra figure, who was not the creator. The creator is God, but he is the governor of this earth. And when Zoroastrianism came along, Zoroastrianism starts in eastern Iran a long time ago, and then 500 BC, Western Iran comes into contact with it. Gradually, there is contact between the Kurds and the people with the old religion and the new religion.
Although Zoroastrianism and Yezidism are sister religions, there are some essential differences. For the Yezidis, a pearl which eventually exploded is the origin of a world in which the dualist principle of good and evil didn't exist. Zoroastrians, however, believe that these two principles form the most basic and essential aspects of creation. It's probably this difference in worldview that gave rise to the mistaken view that Yezidis are worshippers of the devil in the form of the peacock angel.
So these worldviews that are totally related but also different clashed. Now we find a few 100 years at least, 200 years before the coming of Islam, that a Zoroastrian source says the devil is capable of creation, but he doesn't do it because he's always lazy. But in order to show to prove he could create something, he created the peacock. So here we have the first link between the principle of evil and a peacock. Tawsi Malak is not in any way evil. They don't worship evil. Yazidis worship the good, not evil.
النار هي رمز النور، والنور هو مصدره الشمس، والشمس هو الحياة. كل شيء في النهار يكون على بين من حقيقته، تقدر تفرق بين الأبيض والأسود وباقي الألوان، لكن عندما يغيب الشمس تكون الظلام، ممكن كل شيء يحدث والإنسان لا يستطيع أن يلمس أو يفرز الغث من السمين والأسود من الأبيض. الديانة اليزيدية كديانة تأملية وجذورها البدائية هي تقديس مظاهر الطبيعة، وأبرز مظهر من مظاهر الطبيعة هو الشمس اللي هي نور الله، وعليه فالشمس هي أحد أقدس المظاهر في الديانة اليزيدية.
In the course of the last 700 years, thousands of Yazidis have been massacred and forced to leave their lands and abandon their culture. The Arab invasions of Mesopotamia in the name of Islam in the 7th century marked the beginning of a very long campaign of persecution against the Yazidis, who were forced to abandon their traditions. Those who refused were killed and their homes and holy sites destroyed. Many fled to the mountains for shelter and to try and rebuild a precarious existence cut off from civilization. Later, those Kurds who agreed to convert to Islam were used by the invaders to assassinate the remaining Yazidis accused of apostasy. During the course of the Caliphate, the only changes that Yazidis witnessed were to the names of the places where their oppressors lived. The Mongol invasions of the 13th century also brought their share of horror and misery to the Yazidis. These ruthless conquerors massacred all Kurds who dared to show the slightest sign of resistance or opposition. This political persecution in Anatolia and Iraq persisted throughout the Ottoman Empire. In the 17th century, the Ottoman armies again attempted to crush the Yezidis, this time by joining forces with their former Muslim Kurd and Arab Bedouin allies. The holy site in Lalish was requisitioned and converted into an Islamic study center. Many Yazidis were deported to Mosul. Until as recently as Saddam Hussein's regime in Iraq, Yazidis lived in precarious conditions. Their religion was considered as merely a sect, and they were forced to register as Arabs. This and other repressive measures by the Ba'athist Party brought about a high rate of illiteracy and poverty. Thousands of Kurds, both Yazidi and Muslim, fled their homes, and those who survived the killings were forced to live in camps. Whole villages were taken over by Arab residents who were transported to Kurdistan during the Iraqi regime's infamous Anfal campaign to Arabize the whole of Iraq. Following the US military intervention and the fall of Saddam, Yazidis found hope again, their dream of a new Iraq and the development of Kurdistan. Their cultural identity was finally recognized and they could return to Lalish. Electricity and running water was brought to some villages in the northeast, near Dohuk and Sinjar. But this lull was to be a very short one. Today, Yazidis have again fallen victim to intolerance and attempts to eradicate their religious beliefs. As a result, many Yazidis have decided to take the long road of exile to Asia, the United States and Europe.
That's what she wants to do. I told her parents are quite different, and I have also...
It is in Germany, in the city of Oldenburg, that the largest Yazidi community in Europe lives. They've rebuilt their lives here, as well as a centre similar to that in Lalish, which allows them to practice their beliefs and also serves as an information point.
Hier verschiedene Tage auch eingerichtet für Frauen, für Kinder, für Ältere. Und das Haus steht natürlich jederzeit offen, für alle anderen auch. Und deswegen möchte ich auch jetzt, dass wir da reingehen. In diesem Haus wird Kulturunterricht abgeleistet. In diesem Haus wird genau erklärt, warum sie dies und jenes nicht so machen können und warum dies und jenes anders ist. Damit sie auch wirklich verstehen und 100%ig hinterstehen können. Wir möchten von klein an unsere Kleinen offen lassen für unsere jesidische Kultur und sie nicht verlieren. Ist das hier die Küche? Hauptsächlich ein Frauengebiet. Hier sind Männer. Das ist keine männerfreie Zone hier. Wenn Gäste kommen, muss das halt sehr, sehr schnell gehen. Dann muss auch sofort das Essen auf der Tür stehen. Ja, es wäre sehr, sehr, sehr schade, wenn man einen hungrigen Gast, wenn jemand hungrig gehen müsste. Und es gibt auch viele, die halt von weit herkommen und nicht lange bleiben können.
The centre not only organises traditional celebrations, but also funerals. On this particular day, the community had come here to say goodbye to someone who's died and whose soul they believe will return to earth to be purified. After the funeral ceremony, family members and friends gather while the women isolate themselves for 5 days.
So, hier werden wir jetzt wahrscheinlich den traurigsten Raum der ganzen Trauerzeremonie überhaupt finden, wo auch wirklich getrauert wird. Und zwar ist es der Raum der Frauen. Es ist halt so, dass wir auch, ich meine, wir kommen ja auch aus dem Süden, wir sind sehr emotional. Und hier versucht man das auch wirklich, also es ist teilweise wirklich sehr, sehr extrem. Also man muss sich dann auch manchmal ansehen, wie sie sich gegenseitig, wie sie sich in die Brust schlagen oder so, um halt wirklich den Schmerz und die Anteilnahme zu drücken.
This is Iraqi Kurdistan. In the northwest is the holy site of Lalish. It is here that the descendants of the original Yezidis live, those who came from Iran some 4,000 years ago and who later followed the teachings of Sheikh Adi. To travel from Erbil to Dohuk in the province of Shekan, a number of tightly controlled security checkpoints must first be negotiated. This is because of the threat to the Yazidi communities following the recent spate of attacks against them. Dispersed along the mountain roads that lead to Dohuk are white conical domes. All around the domes, pieces of precious cloth are knotted. These symbolize the hopes and wishes of the Yezidis who made a stop here. It is in these regions that most of Iraq's Yazidi communities live. Fruit and vegetable farming is the main activity of the communities living on these fertile agricultural lands. Along with the rebirth of Iraqi Kurdistan, the Yazidi religion was officially recognized, and most of the followers of the faith integrated again into the population, living peacefully next to other religious communities. It is in the various Lalish centres that all archives and documents connected to Yazidi culture are kept. Each centre is closely linked to the sacred temple at Lalish. They embody all the spiritual and religious aspects of the faith. Each city where the Yazidis live has its own Lalish centre. Sharia is a village that was requisitioned during the Anfal campaign in an effort to cut the Yazidis from their historical roots.
ومن الناحية القومية وكان هناك اتجاهات كثيرة يقوم النظام السابق ببثه ضمن المجتمع اليزيدي الذي غالبيته الكبرى لا يجيد القراءة والكتابة سابقا. الآن ليس كذلك، فكانوا يبثون نظريات بأنهم فرقة من فرق الإسلام أو أنهم يتبعون يزيد بن معاوية وإلى ما شابه، وكانوا يمولون ويدعمون النفر الضال القليل من اليزيدية الذين كانوا يتمسكون بهذا الرأي. ومن الناحية القومية أيضا كانوا مضطهدين، كانوا يحاولون تسجيلهم في كل مكان، في كل مستمسك رسمي، في كل مناسبة رسمية، على أساس أنهم عرب ينحدرون من أصول عربية ولكي ينصهرون في بوتقة القومية العربية.
It was only after the Gulf War of 1991 that Yazidis would again be able to enjoy their rights as citizens and practice their religion freely. It was the no-fly zone over northern Iraq, maintained by US and British aircraft, that allowed the Kurds to establish an autonomous government and the Kurdish peoples to feel a sense of security.
أما بعد 91 ضمن هذه المنطقة، ضمن منطقة مجمعتنا اللي تحررت بعد انتفاضة آذار، أصبحت هناك مكاسب كثيرة لليزيدية للحفاظ على خصوصيتها. من ضمنها الآن تدرس اللغة الديانة اليزيدية كمنهج رسمي ضمن الدراسة الابتدائية والمتوسطة والإعدادية. وعلى مستوى الثقافي هناك مراكز ثقافية كالمركز الذي شاهدتموه قبل الآن، والذي أنا هو مسؤول في هذا الفرع في شاريا، للحفاظ على الهوية الدينية من خلال جمع النصوص المقدسة للديانة اليزيدية والعادات والتقاليد للحفاظ عليها وإحياء ما كان قد أهمل سابقا. على الصعيد المكاسب السياسية فهناك وزراء يزيديين في حكومة إقليم كردستان، وهناك مدراء عامين، وهناك نواب برلمان، وهناك الكثير من المناصب التي يحتلوها اليزيدية الآن في حكومة إقليم كردستان، في مجالس البلديات، في مجالس محافظات وغيرها من المناصب.
Yazidis continued to live in peace with their Muslim and Christian neighbours, even though there were sustained campaigns of intimidation mounted against them by those who considered their presence an obstacle to more power. Yazidis, in fact, recognise all religions and only ask that theirs is also respected. This village, situated near Dohuk in northwestern Iraq, is inhabited mainly by Christians of the Assyrian denomination. Even though Yazidis were given the village after the fall of Saddam, they allowed the Christians who'd previously helped and supported them to remain. This Christian villager has lived here ever since his parents came to find refuge, as did so many others. All Kurdish communities have in fact come to help one another throughout their history. As for the Yazidis, despite being targeted by sectarian violence, they have never advocated intolerance in the name of religion.
علاقات قال يزديا إجباري وقت أمهاتن جوالات تركيا أمهاتن إلى ما شو قصور يزديا نديتيا وأم وقتي أمهاتن فلاحية ما نزاني جوالات شايبو أمهاتن إلى يزدي بري أمهاتن إلى بري أم بين تين هاتن جوالات تركيا هاتن فلا يدما شالو شبت شيكنا خام جوباني تبنت كرن بو جولكيت ازيدي او تكرين جولكيت بير برخوت كرن ام فير بنجوان لو عثمان ومبون دوست قلوان ووقت ما هاجر بون مخاني نبو عرض ما نبو قد ما نبو وكينوكا شاو دربنج بغدا جموسل شكركوك مهاجر بون بجان ولاتي ومن ليكر ابا وكيبيبو من دانا حري اب كيبو امت من بري من كسري وامري نشتي وصام بير بو نهرد بوكاو ابا شي وصايا ورزق الخديه بس خديه عراقي صافيكت وباجبت ده همي عالم مرتعبت نو كدلي ما مريا شابي ما بكريا بس هب يا خديه
Yazidis want, and have always yearned for above all, is a peaceful existence and freedom to practice their faith and pray to God in times of need. This yearning was again shattered on August the 16th, 2007, when a powerful explosion killed nearly 600 of them in Sinjar, near the Syrian border. According to analysts, the perpetrators were linked to Al-Qaeda and to former members of the Ba'ath Party, intent on revenge. These pictures, filmed by a survivor of the massacre, show what's left of the village of Sinjar, where a large Yazidi community once lived.
لقد شفنا المأساة بشكل لم يدخل إلى عقل البشرية من كبر الحادثة والمأساة التي شفناها بوجود جثث بشرية متقطعة في جميع القرية. الأضرار المادية التي شفنا قرية عزير القديمة أكثر من 100 بيت فيها، لم يبقى منها إلا 3 أو 4 بيوت.
حقيقة جميع ضحايا بالنسبة لي كانوا أخوة لي، لكن من عشيرتنا تقريبا استشهد ما يقارب من 104 بين شباب وشياب وعجائز وأطفال، إضافة إلى مئات الجرحى.
According to specialists, this terrorist action was aimed at creating an atmosphere of general insecurity in Iraqi Kurdistan and reviving interreligious tensions within the various communities. The ultimate aim, though, was to cause a lasting rift in communal relations and to stifle all autonomous tendencies in Kurdistan.
There are powers at work who want a scapegoat. I gave an interview to an American news channel the other day about the massacre at Sinjar. I don't know how many people had been killed in Sinjar, but all I can say, I wish I could think of anything else. I think, I'm sure the Kurdish government is doing what it can, but it is a difficult situation.
كإعلام ماكو، يعني أنت تشوف الوضع بالعراق، يعني أكو جهات ثاني يوم تصرح الفضائيات بإحنا وراء العملية الفلانية، وإنما عملية اللي صارت بسنجار لحد الآن كفضائيات أو كجهة رسمية لم يعني تصرح بأن المسؤولية عليهم، وإنما يعني اللي صار أكيد المنطقة إلها يعني لهم يعني ناس معينين، أو نقدر نقول كدليل، يعني اللي يجي هناك، يعني أنت هسه جنابك ما تعرف سنجار إلا عندك دليل هناك ويدليك وش اسمه يعني. فهي العملية عملية كبيرة، كانت 4 سيارات كبار من نوع لوري ومحملة يعني حمولة، يعني حمولتها اللي حسب اللي شافوها يعني بحيث السيارات ما تقدر تمشي من الحمل الزايد، الوزن الزايد اللي محملينه.
Whereas the Sinjar massacre went relatively unnoticed in the media, another tragic event that took place earlier in the same year was very widely publicized. In